Hey, Soul Warriors. This is Jessica Noel. And today I just wanted to touch in briefly and talk to you a little bit more detail about self-love and pure love. I want to give you some information to see if it's helpful for you. And we did talk about this being the summer of self-love. So given that, I think it would be lovely if we could go on this journey together. I could do little touch-ins here and there as I get information to share that might be helpful for you on your path towards self-love, towards pure love. So first, let's talk about these different words for a second. So unconditional love is something that I use often. So that means there's no conditions, there's no attachments, there's no desires, there's no expectations. You're not trying to get anything out of it. You're not trying to get needs met. You're not trying to do it. You're just simply offering this love no matter what. And that is completely independent of whether you choose to have this person in your life or not. You can extend unconditional love to anyone with any type of relationship that you have for them, whether you're seeing them regularly or whether they're not even in your life and you don't even communicate with them. So it's with no anticipation of getting anything back. It's completely service oriented. Big piece of pure love is this service, and it's another way of talking about it is bhakti or devotion. So it's this devotion without trying to get anything back. And the interesting paradox there is that as you approach it with the service mindset, you don't have any duality within you, right? So naturally, what we typically think of as love has attachments, has expectations because of the mind and ego, and it tends to have that is as part of it. So when we take that away, then we're no longer in duality. So duality is what most people think of as love right now, because it's like it feels really good, there's pleasure, you're getting you're trying to get your needs met. Maybe at first you do, but there's never an end to needs or desires. They feed on one another. They're it's like putting fuel in the fire. Every time you get a need met, it's more needs, more needs, more desires, more desires. So there's naturally going to be a duality element to it. And when you approach things with devotion, with unconditional love, with no expectations, then there's complete fulfillment, and there is in no way any type of duality. So that's the beautiful thing. So I feel like, don't listen to this and think that you need to try to achieve perfection, or oh, I'm so far from that. Just think about if we can set this intention. So loving yourself would be not being perfectionistic, right? So if you can set this intention, if this resonates with you, to move towards pure love for yourself, to move towards pure love for the divine. So speaking of that, moving towards pure love for the divine, some people do pray and ask to get their needs met from, from spirit, from source, from God. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. And that's a good place to start. Eventually, though, hopefully it will develop into your prayer and your meditation and your devotion is not in an attempt to get needs met as well. So it can be both. It can start with one, and it can evolve to another, or it can be both. That's okay. So allow yourself to ask, because when you ask for something, that's building the relationship as you receive the things that you're asking for, and as the pathway towards it. Even sometimes it's not instant, but there's a pathway towards it that starts to develop more faith and trust. So that's part of the development of the relationship. So allow yourself to ask for ask to help to love. So can you please help me to, God, universe, or whatever name that you want to say to that, please help me to move towards unconditional. Teach me how to love purely. Show me pure love. Fill me with pure love. These types of prayers, very helpful. You will get results, no question, if you say these types of prayers and ask for these types of things and experiences, because we ourselves can't really move us towards that, right? So it's more about surrender and asking for help. So speaking of that, different words for the divine, I wrote down a few different words for the divine. I use the word God. And when I say God, I want you to understand that what I mean is that which is omnipresent love. So in no way am I talking about anything religious. And in no way am I talking about anything that's like a person or personified energy that's sitting on a throne somewhere or something like that. I'm talking about that which is pure omnipresent love, that energy. Some people have, a negative connotation with that word. So I would challenge you to look at that and see who placed it there, because that's not you placing it there. That's you allowing a meaning to form with that word that's not something that you define. So take your power back and think about, if I want to use that word, how can I redefine it to fit what I mean by it? Okay, because it is a powerful word if you can define it in a way that fits for you. If it's too much to do that, then that's okay. You could use universe. You could use universal life force energy. You could use the divine. You could use source. You could use omnipresent pure love. So these are some options when you are needing to use some sort of word to describe in your prayer or just in conversation even. So when I was contemplating self-love, diving a little deeper into that, what came to me is the idea of loving that part of you that is one with that, right? So I've talked a lot about that over time. There's a part of you, the true you, the essence of you that is actually one in a piece of the divine. So if you can love, you can think about loving God in your body, loving the divine in your body, loving the universe in your body, then I feel like lots of things start to change, right? Because you're caretaking. At that point, you've really surrendered, in a sense, your body. You've surrendered your ego mind, per se, your identity to some degree at least. And then you're serving that energy that's inside of your body. So I think that's going to resonate with some of you. And some ways to do that are, some people do special things like to their bed, like they have special sheets, they have really soft blankets. They do these very loving things, thinking of like, how do I take care of God's body? How do I take care of, you know, the body that contains omnipresent love, the body that is the universe? Because energetically, when I talk about the body as the universe, energetically, the energy field, the energy bodies, it is as vast as the multiverse, and it literally is also the multiverse. So that's like a realization that can come for some healers and some people that have clairvoyance and have different spiritual experiences, is that literally is part of who you are. So the universe, talking about taking care of the universe and the body and starting to treat it that way, is very accurate, actually. So that could be a way that you describe it. In addition to, and then like you're feeding that energy within your body. You're speaking with that in mind. You're going about all of your daily activities. And if you can do those things without attachment to outcomes, you're just doing them in a devoted type of way, in an unconditional type of way, the results you get back are very profound and far greater than anything that you can do with expectation or to achieve a certain outcome. So if you can think about that, how do you do some devotion in your daily life towards yourself, thinking about how that energy is in you? And that actually brings me to another point that can sound kind of abstract. And I want to say one more thing that may sound abstract, and then I'm going to show you a picture that I drew. That's I think it at least gets the point across, but there's stick figures and everything. So if you think about that which is omnipresent love, that which is source, that which is the universe, that is one massive energy, right? Is sort of an understatement, but that's the way I can language it. And that energy flows through every person. So that one energy flows through every living thing and every person. And depending on the purification level of the person, depending on the surrender level is another way of saying that, of the person, it shines brighter, or it's a little more distorted or a little bit darker, depending on how much purification, how much surrender, how much growth that person has moved into. And so it's going to be more distorted. So if you can even think about it like a kaleidoscope almost. It's like it comes through and it is pure. It is this pure, true love energy. It comes through, and then whatever vessel it's moving through, whatever person, it's going to be impacted by their design, their patterning, their purification level, their surrender level. So that's going to look different, and then it's going to feel different to that person. So those people that are very purified, that have done a lot of self-healing, self-love, they've purified to a great extent, surrendered to a great extent, that's going to feel very pleasant. And there's going to be a lot of fulfillment and a lot of joy and happiness in those people. And they're going to be able to impact, they might even appear very supernatural, and they are, because they've transcended the limitations of the physical condition. And so as you meet those people, they can cause great change in others around them just through allowing this to flow through them. So I've definitely met people where it's like just being in their presence is incredibly uplifting. They don't even have to say or do anything. It's just incredibly uplifting because of the frequency that they're emanating. So here's this picture. So, okay. So you can see this is God, source, omnipresent love, universal love. So it just illustrates what I was just talking about. So we've got some smiles. So this one we've got, see, these are like supposed to be rays. So we've got rays coming out, and it's very, very happy. We have a little less rays, but still quite a few. So this is how the energy is moving through these people and how it's impacting them, but of course how it would be impacting the others in the world. And then this one here is less, right? So there's sort of a little bit of a smile, but it's a little bit of, it's sort of neutral. Let's call it neutral. This one here, lots less rays, maybe a little distortion. So there's really not any kind of smile. And then this one here, there's just sort of this squiggly line. So it's very sort of dark still. There's quite a bit of distortion that is clouding that energy to come through. And so that's going to impact them and others in a way that doesn't feel positive, that's of a lower frequency and vibration. So even though that wasn't a very artistic drawing, I hope that that illustrates this abstract concept a little bit for you. I feel like I looked for some images or paintings online just real briefly. I couldn't find anything. So I thought I'll just draw some stick figures and hopefully you can get the idea from that. The love and the concept of love that we're used to in this old paradigm, it's like very much with the mind, with the ego, right? So there's expectations, there's feelings of loss, there's this huge massive duality that causes so much pain, and the root of that is this desire. The root of that is these expectations, these trying to get something in return, and that causes so much duality and pain. And so it's not, in no way is that pure, right? There's like a double side to that. So I feel like that's just if you think about it with anything, really, when you start thinking, it can mess everything up. And then that kind of brings me to, as I was going for this walk earlier, there were these two butterflies all of a sudden that appeared, these two beautiful white butterflies, and they were flying together. I thought, oh, isn't that beautiful? And then they just separated and they flew apart. Well, both butterflies were totally fine. Neither of them were like, oh, I'm going to go into depression, or I'm just going to land here and not move anymore. Like, it was fine. They were just as happy, and their energy and the way they were moving was just as happy apart as when they were together. So it's like their journey together, flying together for whatever they needed to do that for, had ended. They separated, everybody was fine. And then they come back then two other ones came back together. So one of the ones that separated and a new one, they came together, they flew together for a while, and then those two separated. And they were also fine. So that really kind of drives that point home, that the mind, the thought, the thinking in the mind is what causes the problem, because these butterflies aren't thinking about loss. They're not thinking about desire or expectation, or that was supposed to be my life mate, or that person was supposed to be with me forever, that situation. It's like they're just allowing things to flow, which brings me to another point: surrender. If the only thing that you ever do is complete surrender to God, the divine, the universe, whichever word you like, if you only do that, complete surrender, your life will be magical and it will change forever, and you will be very, very happy and fulfilled, because it's already moving you in the ways that you need to be moved. And the part that's causing you pain is the thinking mind, and is these expectations and desires. So it's like the desire for sense pleasure, the desire for fulfillment. Fulfillment actually comes when you lose desire, when you finally surrender. That's actually when you actually serve others, when you're devoted and you're letting love flow through you and you're giving it without any expectation of anything in return. That is actually when you experience fulfillment. And it can be very intoxicating. That type of pure love, that's pure love. When you feel that energy, that's actually what you're looking for anyway in these efforts to get needs met. That's actually what you're looking for. So complete surrender and this devotion and this service and letting the love flow through you, realizing you actually are love. That's what you already are, and becoming one with it. Oh, my teacher talks a lot about like oh, this is a beautiful example. So if you're, and Yogananda said the same thing, that might have been where he originally got it from, is if you think about, you are, so the divine, the universe is the ocean, and you're a bubble in the ocean. So what does that mean? So it's like I think I think Yogananda sung a song like talking about like, you make me, I'm a bubble, make me the ocean. So it's like you have to pop that bubble. That bubble is water, but there's air there, right? So it doesn't realize it already is the ocean. It just has some air there. The air would be the mind and the ego. So once the bubble is popped, the air is let out of it, it realizes it's already the ocean, and it becomes one with the ocean. So that's kind of what we're talking about, becoming one with love. Becoming one with love. That is the fullest expression of self-love. You are love. You give love to the divine nature within you. You become it. You unify with it, which is what yoga means, unity with the divine. There is no separation. Separation is the mind and the ego that gets in the way. So it's like, a good prayer could be to remove that barrier, so that removing all barriers to you being able to fully experience yourself as love, as one with the divine. This is something that I just started reading. I was in prayer just yesterday, and I saw this on my shelf. I was drawn to this on my shelf. So I've had this for at least a little over a year, called Eternal Love. So this is not talking about, this is talking about unconditional love of God. Once you have unconditional love of God and of self, then you can think about extending it to another, because you can unconditionally love another in a more consistent, let's say a consistent way. Then you can have pure divine love with another as well, if both people are approaching it that way. So in that last podcast episode I did, I talked about, instead of resisting something or trying to shut something off, think about refocusing onto something else, like just shifting the focus to something else. So something that came through earlier today, that's another way of describing that, is like, when you think about, like, if you're attached to someone or something, right? Like, see if you can get a sense for it. Some of you will just get a sense for, yeah, I can feel that, like, my energy is over there. Some people might see like, oh, I've got cords over there on that person, or I'm giving everything to that person, that situation, that place, whatever it is for you. If you can think about, let's pull that back. So just kind of gather those cords, gather that energy, that just with your intention, and just pull it back, because it's time to really become autonomous and bring that back to you. Everything starts with you. This can really be like a new life, new birth type of day, if you want it to be, where you can really, it's not about severing or closing off, or I don't like that person, or I'm just going to give up on that situation or that person or that place. It's more like shifting the focus, where you pull the energy back to yourself, again, with your intention, visualization, it doesn't matter. It's just the intention that matters. Pull it back to yourself, refocus on yourself. Everything that's meant to be coming to you, that you're meant to experience in a job, in a situation, and people coming into your life, or even in a partner, is going to come to you, and it's going to come to you faster and at a higher frequency level. So the best scenario, person, place, thing that you could have, if you first focus on loving yourself and this unconditional love for the divine, the universe, whatever you want to call that, in this surrender, right? So surrender, self-love, devoting, giving to yourself, and also really state to the universe that you're in receiving mode. Like just make that shift. Today, I move into receiving mode. I'm ready, I'm willing, I'm worthy of receiving from the universe, and surrender all of it. Give all of it to the universe, to the divine, to God. Everything in your life, give. And that's like the last point here, is renunciation. So before we go into that, I was reading a book at one point called Detach, Attach, which is just another way of saying, instead of resisting something and like, basically closing your heart off to it, keeping your heart open, detaching from it, pulling your energy back, and then attaching to something else. In this case, it's attachment is kind of the word we want to avoid, right? But in this case, you're attaching to self-love. You're attaching to the divine, most importantly, the divine within you, loving that inside of you, and the divine outside of you. So it's really all within you. Everything that you're looking for outwardly for fulfillment is in here. So the self-love journey is going to show you that. So just start making an intention, a movement towards it. You will see that. You will find the fulfillment you're looking for inside of yourself. It's already in there. This out here that you're focused on, people, places, things, situations, achievements, that is all going to continue to fuel the duality, the pain that you've experienced. It will never lead you to fulfillment. The only fulfillment is turning within and getting it from within. Unity, oneness, pure, eternal love. The last part is renunciation. So if you want to start fresh, clean slate, new life, as you pull back your energy, there's an inner renunciation that you can proclaim, where it's like, I renounce all of these attachments. I surrender all of them to the universe. I surrender all of them to God, to the divine, whatever your word is, and stop chasing them. Stop chasing your fulfillment. Stop trying to get needs met, and choose to allow, surrender to the universe, let the universe give to you, allow yourself to receive, and focus on that autonomy, focus on that self-love, and building this relationship with the divine through prayer, through asking to be purified, to feel that pure love. Good. So renunciation is not that you're not going to be doing things in your life or that you're not going to experience positive things. It's about not attaching to it. It's about letting go. It's about letting the universe take care of it for you rather than you trying to create something or strive on your own with your mind, right? Really with your mind or with your ego. Good. Okay. So that's all I wanted to share for today. I have so enjoyed connecting with you today, and I will look forward to the next little tidbit I have to share with you. Okay, love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.